Welcome, everybody, to the Brewery Underground Podcast. I'm Steve Sullivan, along today with the Chancellor of Craft Beer, Scott Touron. And make sure you follow us on our website, Sullivan Touron Brewery Adventures.com. And Scott, here we are. It's our very first podcast.
Here we go. I know we did a little warm-up thing, but I feel good about it, Steve. We've been talking about it for a long time.
Well, absolutely. And so basically just wanted to give people some background of who we are, why we're here and things like that. We both are living in the Nashville, Tennessee area. I actually live south of Nashville. You live right in like the downtown Nashville area. But like a lot of people, we are not Nashville natives.
We are not. I'm from upstate New York. I've been down here about 20 years. I'm never going back. It's a good place to visit once in a while, but I don't plan on going back for a long time. I prefer it here.
Yeah, you're from like the Great White North, way, way up north in New York, from almost in Canada way.
Yes, I was born in Ogdensburg, which is 2 hours north of Syracuse. It's on the St. Lawrence River, and literally across the river is Canada. Like it's
Yeah.
I got a friend that tells me I'm Canadian all the time. So
Yeah, that's
I'm
right.
that close. Yeah, hey.
Well, I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, and I've been in Nashville now for about 25 years. And one of the things that really brought us together that we've talked about over time is the fact that we love breweries. We love going to breweries. Also, our love for baseball. I'm a big Cincinnati Reds fan. It's hard sometimes, but I still am. And you, my friend, you are a New York Yankees fan.
Bleed blue, Steve. we we are loved and hated no matter where you go. So
We are,
but
or you are, I should say. Reds
yeah,
fans
yeah.
we liked because we don't always win, but people were like, I still like the Reds, and they're the oldest team in baseball. So
Yeah, and nobody really has a reason to hate the Reds. A lot of people have a reason to hate the Yankees, but anywhere I go, I can see somebody wear a Yankee hat or a Yankee shirt. We can always bond.
one of the things that brought us together on this talking about doing a podcast is that we go around and hit breweries a lot in the Nashville area, but we also hit them at times. Being from Cincinnati, I still make it up there a couple of times a year. And you and I actually go at least about once a year on a road trip. We'll go to Cincinnati. We'll go to a couple of Reds games. Back in May, we actually went to go see the Reds and the Yankees. But we hit a lot of breweries as well. And so we've been doing this together now, I would say probably 8-9 years at least, and it becomes as we talk about Sullivan Touron and Brewery Adventures.com, which is the name of our website. It has become quite an adventure.
It has. Like it's like this last trip we went on, they get longer and longer. We have to add more days, which is great because there's so many breweries that we want to hit while we're there. Of course, we never get close to getting all of them, but it's grown over the past several years, and it grows every year we go.
It has, absolutely, absolutely. And it certainly will continue to grow. And I think that's something that people, when they're going to be tuning into this podcast, can really relate to. Because if you are with a group of friends and you love to drink and you love to go to breweries, and then you're probably mixing it in with other things as well. We mix it in, with baseball games. And then, a couple of weeks ago, we got together with some friends and we were out all day going to some breweries just north of Nashville. And all of that certainly is on our website that we talk about all the time on Sullivan Touron Brewery Adventures.com. But I wanted to talk about this because you actually were the creator of this website. You had this idea, you created it a few months ago. And talk about our website, Scott, and what is on our website for people to when they go on our website, what are they going to see?
First of all, it's got like the About Us page, who we are is what it's called. It's got a little bit of our history that we just talked about, a little bit more detail on there. It's got posts from recent trips that we just went on, although I've not posted on the one you just talked about, which I should, but it's got a top 10 list of our favorite beers of 2023 so far. It's got a top 10 list of um, reasons to go to a brewery, where to return to a brewery. It's got maps of the breweries we've been to. It's got or a map of the breweries in the Nashville area. We're trying to add content all the time, more and more content all the time. And we have some pretty pictures on there too, if nothing else.
You gotta love the pictures. That's right.
Like, nice and colorful and, easy to look at.
Absolutely. We always take pictures of when we're going out to breweries and other places as well. I love taking pictures of flights because I love flights. Uh,
Yep.
sometimes, in fact, we were just having this conversation the other day. I said to you, when we do go out to a lot of these places, I got to be taking more pictures because you're doing that. And I'm so consumed about what the beer tastes like and the atmosphere and the ambiance. And we're going to talk about that on our website a little bit about what you like about going to breweries. But yeah, so all those kind of things that I think that can help people along the way. That if you're interested in, what the brewery scene is in various places now, to so people know about us. We generally are focused because we do live in Nashville. We generally are focused on, the Middle Tennessee area, not just necessarily Nashville, because a couple of weeks ago we went up to Gallatin, Tennessee, which is just north of Nashville. We go to some other places as well.
Yeah, we tried to do an annual, I think we've tried to do an annual trip to, say, Murfreesboro, spend a day out that way. There's enough brewers out that way we could hit and fill a day. Um, you've not come with us yet, but we've done a Cookeville, Tennessee trip, which is about an hour and a half east of Nashville. And that's a full day too. And you got to hit Sparta and Cookeville and stuff. And it's not a lot of breweries out there, but because it's so far there and back, it takes a full day. So little short trips like that too, to, try to get to as many as we can. Not to mention, we haven't even done Clarksville, which is only an hour and change away.
That's right. There's so many different areas, around Middle Tennessee that we can go to, that we have gone to. I know just over like the last month or so, even some of the new breweries, or one of the new breweries that opened downtown, Highwire, and we both, I've been to the Highwire, and you have too. That they opened one up in Cincinnati this past year. We went to that location. That's tremendous. You've been to the Highwire location. I believe it's in North Carolina. They're headquartered there, right?
Yeah, they've got one in Asheville, which is where they started.
Yep.
And I think they've got one, maybe Charlotte they've got now, but I've been to Asheville, of course, and they've got one in Knoxville. Been to that one, and then you and I have been to Cincinnati and obviously Nashville here too. So they're growing and spreading, which is a good thing. And they've got great beer. And every location I've been to, and you've seen it in the couple you've been to, they're different. They're not the
Yes.
same brewery. They're completely different. They
Yeah.
got a certain style to each one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know the one that you and I went to in Cincinnati was just absolutely tremendous because it's in an area, it's called Norwood, which is just north of Cincinnati. It's probably about 10 minutes or so. And it's basically an old warehouse that they have built up into a lot of different things. There's a couple of breweries there now. So just tremendous. And the one that opened up in downtown Nashville, in the Gulch area, and we posted pictures on our website at Sullivan Touron breweryadventures.com. We posted some pictures on there not long ago. It's in what's called the Gulch area, which is, if you're familiar with downtown Nashville, you're familiar with like where Music Row is and things like that. It's over in that area. And really, they have built it up so much over there. And so they went into a perfect location where, it's downtown housing, people live now and things like that. And so just a tremendous location.
It is. And you can, if you go there and we did it, you can walk to other things. You can walk to Peg Leg Porker, which is a couple of
Yep.
blocks away. It's just fantastic. Um, if by doing that, you park, if you can find a parking spot or use that parking garage, you can just walk to all the other places and you can leave your car. Marble Fox, which is literally almost right next door. There's
Yeah.
another one, another great brewery too that we've been to, and great beer. You can walk, it's walking distance. And I know we've not talked about it really much yet, but there's a hops and craft, like a tap room right up the
Yeah.
way too that you can walk to. So that whole little area is cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we'll talk more about Nashville breweries and things like that as time goes on. I think for people that, if you've never been to Nashville and you're listening to this podcast and you want to come and, breweries are your thing, plan your day around them. The only thing that I will say is because Nashville is so crowded, especially certain times during the week and on the weekends. We all know downtown is crowded, but you just have to do your research on whether or not you want to go somewhere and pay to park or Uber or whatever the right choice is for you. But there are so many different breweries around that it's definitely a fun time. But the other thing we want to talk about as far as like this podcast is concerned, we will a lot of times when we're doing our podcast talk about the breweries that we've been to are going to, the new ones are going to be opening up as well. But the other thing that I think is near and dear, and this is where I look forward to, because as I call you the chancellor of craft beer, our goal is to talk to the owners of breweries and tap rooms around the Middle Tennessee area, and some of those folks as well, and you also brew beer, so you have a lot of great knowledge, when it comes to what their business is and what they're doing.
Yeah, I look forward to that and getting, you talk to them in a brewery and you see them and you say hello and stuff, but to really maybe sit down with a couple of these guys and girls and see, how do they do it? Logistics, where do you get your ideas from? Why this and that? You have a lot of seasonal beers. I got a lot of questions I want to ask, and just to kind of do a deep dive for 30 minutes, 45, whatever it turns out to be, just to talk beer.
Yeah,
Which
talk
which
beer.
which I'm sure they'd love to talk beer as well. It's
They
their
want to talk
world.
beer,
Uh-huh.
definitely want to talk beer, talk really about, their business and what they're seeing and things like that in the marketplace. And the other thing, and we'll get to this here in just a couple of minutes, but really talking about when they're setting up their location, whether it's a tap room or whether it's a brewery, what is it that they're trying to do to bring people in? Because that's one of the big things that is an important part of aspect of somebody's business. How do you attract customers?
Yeah, and what makes you different from the other breweries? Like, why would I go to your place, instead of somebody else's? And I think in this town, and you would probably agree with this, everybody's got a different style of something at the
Yeah,
breweries. Like, Fela Force is different than Tennessee Brew Works, but Southern Grist is different than, well, everybody. But
yeah, yeah, definitely.
and that's a good thing. But everybody's got their own unique thing. Even with 7 tailgates in town now, different tailgates, they're all cool too because they're all in different parts of town. And so yeah, for me, that the fact that they differ a lot, but all good in their own way too. So yeah, I look forward to talking to some of these brewers about that.
Well, as I mentioned before too, you and I both have friends that we know that will come into Nashville, maybe not been here before, and the biggest thing they want to do because it's Nashville, they want to go downtown. They want to go down on Broadway where all the honky tonks and there's nothing wrong with that. There's not as many breweries down on like the strip as there are maybe within a couple of blocks or a couple of miles. We don't generally hit those downtown areas because it's more of a tourist destination, and there are some breweries that we like that are near downtown, but also they have become more of tourist destinations. So we may go elsewhere. We still love those locations, but I think it's one of those things too where if you've not been here before and you really want to hit the brewery scene, as minutes ago. There's a whole lot of them you could go to in the downtown area, and then you can go on our website, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, which is Sullivan Touron Brewery Adventures.com, and look at some of the comments that we've made about not only breweries in downtown Nashville, but around the area.
Yeah, I'm updating that thing almost every other day with changes, trying to stay on top of the latest openings because we've got some new breweries opening. We've had a couple close. We've got some in town that don't have brick and mortar yet, but you can find their beer, so they're like home brewers. So I try to keep that up to date, and the map is helpful too because not only do we have the list, there's a map. You can kind of look, okay, oh, this is Columbia. Okay, that's maybe a little
Yeah.
further out than we want to go, but hey, Murfreesboro is doable, or West Nashville. We've done that trip where you can hit 4 or 5 in a day out there. So there's a lot on there, and I'm gonna do my best to make sure that with any change in a brewery, it gets updated immediately.
Well, you've done a great job on it, and certainly appreciate that. And it's a growing industry. It's a growing thing. It's something that we like, and it's a lot of fun. So one thing we're going to talk about is we've discussed a little bit today, pushing you to our website and make sure you go on that. Is that we recently updated a list, Scott, and it's basically our top 10 reasons for going to a brewery. And it's on our homepage right now. You can go on Sullivan Touron breweryadventures.com and you can see our top 10 reasons. Now, you and I think we didn't really differ so much. Just kind of the language of how we wrote it, it might be a little bit different, but I think we had the same aspect of what we were looking at.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be some obvious things, right? Like the beer has to be good. I mean,
Yeah,
it has, at least to go back to. It is to me the most important part of the brewery. That's why you're there. Um, so yeah, you're going to have beer listed out there. I've been to places, not necessarily around Nashville, but you're like the beer's okay. I'll go somewhere else next time. So
yeah,
if it's it's like, oh, let's skip this one. Let's go try this one. So if it's good, you definitely want to come back. I mean, Marble Fox comes to mind, and it's one of the newer ones. And
yeah,
God, they make such good beer. And they were just at
yeah.
the beer fest last weekend, and every chance I get to go down there, I'm gonna go because I know the beer is going to be good.
Right, right. And I got a chance to go there not long ago as well, and really enjoyed that. So your number one reason is the beer, of course. My number one reason, and again, when we were writing these out, maybe not my number one and your number one may have not been like this is the absolute number one, but we were just listing out 10 things. So
Yeah,
the
yeah,
one of the ones that I mentioned too was, I've never been. If I've never been to a brewery before, and a lot of them they're constantly opening. Man, I want to go. I mean, it's great to see new breweries that are opening all the time and to check out everything that they have to see, okay, have I not had this particular beer before and things like that, and what else is going on at this particular establishment that I'm going to love.
yeah. Because you want to see what it's about. Just like we talked about how all the high wires are different. Let's go check this place out. Let's see the cool ambiance. Let's see if they've got what the outside area looks like. Let's have the beer taste. Can we let's see what area is it in? Can we park? Is it are we gonna need an Uber? So all sorts of things like that.
Yeah,
But I'm like you. It's like something new opens up. I gotta go. Let's go. Let's go try it out.
absolutely. Like number two for you on your list is you put unique beers.
Yeah. So kind of the same thing as beer, but I kind of broke it out because I wanted it like when you can go there and you're never going to find that beer outside of that brewery, right? They're going to make small
Yeah,
batch stuff. I'll use Tailgate again for that example. They put some stuff out in the marketplace that you can buy daily. But if you go to Tailgate, you'll find 10 or 15 beers that you won't ever find outside of that building. They're
right.
just making small stuff. And you go the next day and they've got something completely different. And we do that too. If we go back to say Marble Fox again, we might go a few weeks or a couple of months and it's going to be completely changed when you go back. So that for me, that's a big reason to go back as well,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I know something new is going to be there.
We were just at Southern Grist in East Nashville last Friday,
Yeah.
and I think I had a flight. I think I had about four beers I hadn't had from Southern Grist yet, and I'm
Hmm.
trying to expand my portfolio, so to speak. That's another one that they do a lot of different beers at. So my number two that I put on is kind of like what you're talking about, almost unique beers. I put variety on here because whether you're a craft beer lover, you're just trying to enjoy something new. A brewery with a decent sized tap list is really going to drive people in. And let's face it, if you know people that you're in a mixed group of people and they're like, well, I like this or whatever it is, whatever your taste is. But if you know that they have an expanded variety of craft beer, and we'll put seltzers in there. I know it's not necessarily craft beer, but if they have if they have that on the list as well, that's really going to drive a lot of people in. And then, so one of the other ones that you have, number three for you, is a rooftop and outdoor area.
Yes. Now we've been to some that have got rooftops, and they're outstanding when you can find them. I know downtown Nashville has a lot of rooftops on a lot of different things, not necessarily breweries, but there's some cool outside areas too. I don't know if you and I have been to, say, the tailgate out off of Charlotte, giant outdoor area.
Yeah.
Um, Places like that, and everybody's got their own little unique thing. Even Southern Grist has got one over here,
Yep.
and it's not real big, but it's kind of neat. You're sitting outside, and they've got those bay doors that kind of open up, and you're kind of inside and outside at the same time. Um, yeah, it's just, it adds to the overall ambiance, and you're sitting there like, oh, the beer's really good, and I've got a great view of something,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
And when I'm talking about a rooftop or an outdoor, that Cincinnati,
yeah,
Braxton, Covington, Rhinegeist. I mean, those are a couple of them right there that have rooftops. And man, you get on those things, and you could spend 3 or 4 hours just up there, just enjoying. If it's a nice day, and you could see the city, you could see everything that's going on. I mean, it is just absolutely fantastic. And so I think that's another really good thing too. So
yeah.
yeah,
And those things
absolutely.
are, and to your point, those are game changers. I mean, I'm thinking
Yeah,
of every one of them now. I listed Braxton and Highwire specifically in my little list there. But when you're sitting out there, we've done it. You sit out there, you don't want to leave. You get a beautiful day, and like, hey, we plan on going here. Well, let's stay here just a little bit longer, because
yep.
it's just so cool, just to sit out there, and you're relaxing and having a good time.
Absolutely. So number three on my list is flights and pints. I mean, I love flights. Anytime I go to a brewery, and if they have flights, tap room as well. If they have flights, I'm in hog heaven. Love to try, all sorts of different beer. And if they do have flights, that's fantastic. If they have pints, that's okay too. It's still great beer. But I love to try, other different things. So
Yeah,
no,
especially when you
yeah,
go to a brand new place and you haven't had anything from them, and you're like, well, we've only
yeah.
got a certain amount of time to be here. Let me maximize the number of beers I can try by getting a
Yeah.
flight.
Definitely, definitely. So number four on your list is like kid and dog friendly, and I think that we're seeing a lot more breweries over the last few years, especially that are really catering more to this type of thing.
Yeah, I think if you're not kid or dog friendly, and maybe some places the location would dictate, but I think 99% of the places, maybe 100% of the places I've been, have always been either kid or dog friendly. Um, it's a good way. You see people out there playing games. You bring the kids. Both parents are there sometimes, right? And it's like, dad says he wants to go to the brewery, but he can't because he got to watch the kid. Hell, I'll just bring the kid and the dog. You know, and they got an area for the kid to play around on. So I think it's cool. I've seen some places where there are probably more kids than adults, and that's not my favorite thing. But but the fact that they're there is cool, and that they're able to bring their kids out, and they can drink beer too, while watching the kid. Like in this neighborhood here, this, and it's not a brewery, but Deep South Growlers. I mean, people walk around in this neighborhood and just walk their dog to the to
Yep,
the to the tap room to
yeah,
get a beer while they're out walking the dog. It's great.
definitely, definitely. So number four on my list, we'll go through this really quickly because it's almost a no brainer. Is beer and food. If you're going to a brewery, if you're going to a tap room, if obviously you're going to have beer, but if they do have food
Yep.
and they have great food, that's so much the better.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a win-win. And us, like when we do a day, like how we're gonna hit a bunch of breweries today. There's got to be a stopping point along the way for food, whether it be lunch and or dinner later on. So when the breweries have food, it's a win-win. You don't have to go somewhere else and kind of neglect beer for a while. You're right there, as part of your day, and not have to
And I
miss a
highly
beer.
recommend. They don't have one of these in Nashville. I wish they did. Cincinnati has one. I know Atlanta has one. I highly recommend Yard House.
Yard House. You can go there 3 times in 24 hours. We've done
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, we sure have. Yeah, we sure have. So number
it.
five on your list is the atmosphere.
Yeah, sometimes it's you want to go watch a ball game. Some places are set up to watch a bunch of games at once. Some places don't have any TVs because they want that kind of maybe that more quiet atmosphere. And we've been to places that have music, and which is okay. But sometimes sometimes you sit as far away from the music as you possibly can, and you still can't hear yourself talk. So
Yeah, we did get
that's
run
okay.
out of one place one night, and we're going to go back when there's not a whole lot of music. And we
Yeah.
loved the place. It was just
Yep.
smaller, and the music started playing, and it was like, oh my gosh, we
Yeah.
can't hear ourselves. And I don't think that makes it sound old. I think it was just one of those things where that night you just went, oh man, this is a little bit loud for how small this particular place was. But we still love this place. We're not going to name
Yep.
them. We love the beer, and we're definitely going to go back. So. Um,
100%. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for my number five is basically is knowledge is power. So for me, it kind of goes on what we were just talking about. How often have you been to a brewery where the person you're serving, um, you know, you know about the music and things like that, but also the person that's serving you, they're friendly, but they're also recommending like certain beers based on what you like. I mean, this is an absolute winner. And I will give you an example. So, back in May, we were at Mad Tree Brewing in Cincinnati, in the Oakley area. Love this place, absolutely love it. And I go in there, and I was going to get a pint. It was something mango, and the waitress looks at me and she says, "Let me just let you taste it first before you put it in a flight or a pint." I said, all right. And I tasted it and I'm like, yeah, I think I'm going to try something else. And she goes, yeah, she goes, we've had a couple of people like that. And I don't think it was a horrible beer, but I think it may have just been a little bit too overpowering for a pint. And I'm going, now, this is what you want in a waitress or a waiter, whoever is serving you at a brewery. That's the kind of service that you're looking for.
Yeah, they know what they're bringing out. I didn't come up with that one, and I'm so glad you did on your list because that is really important. Um, most time you and I probably don't need it, but that was a really good example because sometimes you have something and 16 ounces of it can be a lot, and
Yeah.
when you're drinking it and it gets worse on you the more you're drinking it, and it seems like you can never get through the pint. Um, Also, where flights are helpful too, but yeah, I think that's great. And if you say a lot of people don't drink craft beer like we do, so they walk into a place and they're like, well, what do you normally? What do you have? What do you have anything
Yeah.
light? What do you like this? That and they can kind of find or curb you towards something that they have that you might possibly like. So I think that's a huge plus.
Yeah, definitely. Now, number six on your list is new brewery, and we already kind of talked about that a little bit about new breweries that are opening, and that's something that really excites us. So we'll move on from that, and keep it going. But the other one that I talked about as well on mine, my number six was like the location. If you own a brewery and it's a part of town that it's really tough getting to, there's traffic, there's construction going on, there's lack of parking. I mean, these are really obstacles that may send may send a lot of people into a different direction. So I would say a location is a really big thing for me.
Yeah, and let me jump on that real quick. And we've done this too. So when you're in a part of town and like, hey, there's a whole bunch kind of in one area, and then you got this
Yeah,
one that's way out there by itself. You're like, I want to go there, but it's not feasible, or it's not logistically. It's tough sometimes too. So yeah, to your point, if you can get them, to kind of get a bunch in an area or within reason, it's great. Just makes your day that much better too.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Now, your number seven was one that I already had, put on mine was the food. So we
Hmm.
know about that already, but for people that are looking at that as well, and basically, my number seven was something I think we talked about a little bit before too, was really the ambiance. I mean, when you walk into a brewery, you know right away this place is for me, man. I mean, it checks off all the boxes, whether it's an outdoor patio, it's TVs for sports or whatever. And we don't really talk about that too much, Scott, but a lot of times, you and I are big sports fans. We're baseball fans, NFL guys, college basketball, college football. A lot of times when we're going out, we're like, okay, do they have TVs? Can
Hmm.
we watch, a certain sporting event? So I think that is something that we look at as well.
Oh, for sure. I've gotten online before going to a place I haven't been to or had forgotten about and say, hey, have they got TVs? Because we want to watch a certain game, or we're not going to this one, or we're going to go to this one because they do, kind of thing too. So
Yep.
yes, it can be important.
Now, your number eight is something that you have to remind me of quite often when we're out because I'm always so focused on drinking the beer and having a good time. But you're always about the stickers, man. Explain
Gotta
yourself,
have
sir.
you gotta have the beer sticker. The beer sticker from the brewery, and the breweries know, like they know that's why they have them. That it's like a collector's item kind of thing. It's, hey, this is where I've been, and people collect them. They put them on things. I put mine on my beer fridge in the garage as I get them. Um, so yeah, it's like a track record or record of some way, a physical record, a visual record of breweries that you've been to. Not to mention the list that we keep, but it's just going, I've got to have one for every place I go. And I go out of town and they don't have one. Well, first of all, I'm disappointed.
Yeah. Very disappointed.
I'm disappointed because I may never get back to that place, But I have a list in my notes, my Apple notes, that for places that still owe me stickers. And I'll reach out to them. Sometimes you can buy them on their website. Sometimes they'll send you some. Sometimes they don't respond at all. But it's important to me. Every place I go, I want a sticker from.
No, and I
Again,
do
it's
too,
a
and I love it. I just forget sometimes, and
yeah.
we'll be in there after about one or two beers. I'm like, I'm consumed with everything else, and all of a sudden, Steve, you got to get a sticker. I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah, and the
yeah,
best places are the ones that have them kind of front and center when you walk in. You're like, okay, boom, let's get that right now. And you forget to ask, and then
yep,
or at the very end. So anyway, free stickers are the best, but
yeah.
I hate paying for them, but I've got to have them at this point. I got to keep them.
So my number eight is basically it's pretty simple. What time does a brewery open and close? Now, a lot of times this is more important, I think, for you and I when we're making a day of it and we're gonna, we want to start out someplace. Maybe we're traveling or whatever, and it's like, okay, where are we gonna start if we're gonna start day drinking? And what opens? If it's 11
Hmm.
o'clock, is it noon? We want to start our day at some place and a lot of times, what time do they close? Because we've been to breweries before, at 9 o'clock they're closing, at 8:45, they're putting the chairs on the table, they're ready to go home.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. And like you said, like you want the ones that open at 11. That's about the earliest you're going to find anywhere. But if you don't plan it right, you'll show up and it'll be 2 o'clock they'll open, or 3 o'clock. And we've had those where, okay, we'll hit these other ones first, and then we'll circle back and hit these guys later on, and hopefully they stay open a little later. But yeah, you made a good point there with yours, and I didn't list that on mine. I wish I had, but that is, yes, it's a very good point, and very important. That is important. It's important, more important probably than most people think if you're planning a day of brewery hopping.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other one, number nine on yours, are events that go on at various breweries that you can go to.
Yeah, places this time of year, people have Oktoberfest, their own Oktoberfest celebrations.
My favorite
Um,
time of year.
yes, and there's no shortage of them around here. Everybody had their own, it seemed like. There are things like trivia nights, or some kind of games, or I know some places will have like a class. I know Deep South Growlers up here had like a beer class that they brought a distributor in for, and talk for a little bit to people that were there. So, those things, if those are things that interest you, for me, probably the biggest thing would be like Oktoberfest celebrations.
Yeah,
Trivia nights, I don't really care about, but I've been to them. I mean, I've been there when
yeah,
they've happened, and they can be fun. So, happy hours, specials on certain days. And I wrote down their special releases. When I did that, I was thinking of Southern Grist mostly because they're constantly doing that.
sure.
But yeah, those are cool. And those are events. Hey, this Friday we're going to drop this banana pudding stout barrel aged in Pappy
Yeah,
barrels. Like, I got to be there for that. So those kinds of things.
got to have that banana pudding stout. Absolutely.
Got to have
Yeah.
it for $27. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And then my number nine is locally owned. Love supporting small business owners and things like that. Again, as we go forward through our podcast, we're going to be talking to some of those folks that own, local breweries and tap rooms and things like that, and really how they got started. Because you and I have had this conversation before. One of the things I'm really fascinated by Not only are the small, owners, but some of these bigger ones as well, because I mean, there's a lot of dollars and cents, a lot of thought, a lot of investment, whether it's on a local level or on a, if you're a corporation or a national level, that's put into these breweries. They aren't, as I'd like to say, they're not just nickel and dime operations.
No, they're not. And some of them want to distribute right outside of your area. I think Bearded does that a little bit, where they don't go real far, but they go out. So you want to support them, and I'm with you. Locally owned, and we've been to enough of them where the owner is there. We've
Yeah.
gotten to know them a little bit, at least from them seeing us and talking to them and stuff. So, and it's nice to know that they see you supporting them at the same time. So yeah, I agree with you. Whether it's here or Cincinnati or anywhere, it's like love to support them every chance we get. And this way, when a new one opens up, I want to be one of the first ones there to show the support and hopefully get them started off right.
Definitely, definitely. And our number 10, you and I both agree on this. And I think it also echoes, our website, Sullivan Touron breweryadventures.com. Ta-da! Brewery Adventures.
Yeah, absolutely. This thing wouldn't exist without the brewery adventure, and we'll tell some stories along the way about different things and ball trips and random Uber driver stories and all part of the adventure. Like just an Uber ride from one place to another can be entertaining and and it just one thing just kind of leads to another, and they're all adventures. It's the leading up to, it's the during, it's the after, it's the stories and the memories that you create too. It's again, this wouldn't exist without them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that is going to wrap up our podcast, our very first podcast. And we're so glad that people that are tuning in, they're going to be hearing this whenever you're going to be hearing this. We're very glad that you're going to be listening to us. And we promise more content on our website. We promise more podcasts. I know here in the very near future, we're going to be interviewing some folks that do their thing. And certainly looking forward to it, Scott.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you do get on the site, we do put some effort into it. Really, it'd be cool to hear your comments on anything we write about, or if there's something you want us to write about or get an opinion on. We'd love to, because we're always looking for new content to add, and we want to make it entertaining and fun. So yeah, we're gonna have hopefully we got some guests that have verbally agreed to join us on here. So we'll work on doing that and
We'll
try to make it
twist their
interesting
arm.
and
We'll
fun.
buy a flight from them or a pint or something.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, maybe one of these days we'll say, hey, this podcast was brought to you by so-and-so,
Yes.
you know?
Sponsored by. Looking forward to it.
Yes. Yeah. We're going to have some fun with it, and forgive us. We're going to grow here where it's going to get better. Or maybe it won't. Maybe this will be as good as it gets. We don't know. We'll see, but it'll be entertaining. It'll be entertaining. I promise.
It definitely will. It definitely will. Well, we certainly appreciate it, everybody, for listening again. We will see you soon on our lovely podcast.
Cheers, everybody.